What up, Patriots? So today we got something a little bit new, but I think you guys are going to like it. We are going to take a time machine back into the past and see some of Donald Trump's most savage debate moments from the 2016 era. I don't know about you guys, but I thought Trump was on fire back in the day, and it is a lot of fun to see these, especially with the perspective of everything we have now, just about 8 years later. So we're going to get right into it. It's going to be a lot of fun. But first, everybody, do me a big favor here and like our video, share it around. And if you're new, please subscribe to the Resist the Mainstream YouTube channel so we can keep bringing you guys these great clips. And for those of you who are returning, thank you so much and welcome back. As always, everybody, I'm your host, Darian. Let's get into the show.
We have a country where to assimilate, you have to speak English. I'm not the first one to say this, Dana. We've had many people over the years, for many, many years, saying the same thing. This is a country where we speak English, not Spanish.
Trump, take 30 seconds.
Let me just, he wants to be a tough guy. A lot of times, you'll have, and it doesn't work very well with
How tough is it to take property from an elderly woman?
Let me talk. Quiet.
How tough is it?
A lot of times, that's all of his donors and special interests out there. So, that's what it is. That's what, and by the way, let me just tell you, we needed tickets. You can't get them. You know who has the tickets for the, I'm talking about to the television audience? Donors, special interest, the people that are putting up the money. So it is. The RNC told us we have all donors in the audience, and the reason they're not loving me, the reason they're not loving me is I don't want their money. I'm going to do the right thing for the American public. I don't want their money. I don't need their money. And I'm the only one up here that can say that.
This was a great and prime example of who Trump was and how he shook things up back in that 2016 era. You notice how Trump took a bunch of booing and made it into a good thing? That shows just how politically savvy and how charismatic and quick on his feet he really is. He took a bunch of people booing and he said, nah, you're donors, you're special interests, you're losers, forget you. Very, very smart and intelligent strategy there. Also, for a bit of context on that clip about speaking English in America and assimilating, just to give the context there, Jeb Bush had spoken Spanish after being asked a question at some kind of event by either a constituent or a reporter of some kind. And Jeb Bush argued the reason why he did it was he spoke Spanish to show them respect. And Trump's entire point was, well, we're in America, we're going to speak English. That's that. Real big blow on the politically correct culture back in the day, especially when you had Republicans, supposedly conservative and right-wing people like Jeb Bush who were openly embracing that kind of whole, let's just say, being subservient to foreigners kind of attitude.
I know so many of the people in the audience. And by the way, I'm a self-funder. I have my wife and I have my son. That's all I have. Obviously, the war in Iraq was a big, fat mistake, all right? Now, you can take it any way you want, and it took Jeb Bush, if you remember at the beginning of his announcement, when he announced for president, it took him 5 days. He went back. It was a mistake. It wasn't a mistake. It took him 5 days before his people told him what to say, and he ultimately said it was a mistake. The war in Iraq, we spent $2 trillion, thousands of lives. We don't even have it. Iran is taking over Iraq with the second largest oil reserves in the world. Obviously, it was a mistake. So George Bush made a mistake. We can make mistakes, but that one was a beauty. We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East.
He should be impeached.
I think it's my turn, isn't it?
You do whatever you want. You call it whatever you want. I want to tell you, they lied. Okay. They said there were weapons of mass destruction. There were none, and they knew there were none. There were no weapons of mass destruction. The World Trade Center came down during your brother's reign. Remember that.
Hold on.
Let me finish this.
Friends, the World Trade Center came down during the reign of George Bush. He kept us safe. That's not safe. That is not safe, Marco.
Oh, my mom is the strongest woman I know.
She should be running.
This is not about my family. This is a tough business to run for president.
I know. You're a tough guy, Jeb.
And we need to have a leader that is
real tough.
You're never going to be president of the United States by insulting your way to the presidency.
Let's see. I'm at 42 and you're at 3. So far I'm doing better.
Doesn't matter.
So far I'm doing better. You know, you started off over here, Jeb. You're moving over further and further. Pretty soon you're going to be off the end.
This doesn't do.
Trump.
Turns out it did matter. That 42 to 3% mattered a lot.
He wanted casino gambling in Florida.
I didn't want
Yes, you did.
Totally false.
You wanted it, and you didn't get it because I was
it.
opposed to casino gambling before, during, and after to be bought by anybody.
I promise, if I wanted it, I would have gotten it.
No way, Ben.
Believe me.
Nope.
I know my people.
Not even possible.
I know my people.
But the simple fact is...
Excuse me. 1 second.
No.
I didn't want to...
Donald, you cannot take...
More energy tonight. I like that.
Look, I was asked the question.
The weakest person on the stage by far on illegal immigration is Jeb Bush. They come out of an act of love, whether you like it or not. He is so weak on illegal immigration, it's laughable, and everybody knows.
That's fine.
You notice there's a common theme here. Lots of attacks on Jeb Bush. And there was a very specific reason for that. Trump knew that Jeb Bush was essentially the GOP's darling child at the time. He was one of the ones who was supposed to get the nomination. It was supposed to be a Bush versus Clinton, just like before, just another continuation of the old American dynasties. But Trump shook that up, and thank God he did.
Now spend a little more money on the commercials.
But if you want to talk about weak,
he also said about language.
I've laid out my plans.
He said about language. 2 days ago, he said he would take his pants off and moon everybody, and that's fine. Nobody reports that. He gets up and says that, and then he tells me, oh, my language was a little bit rough.
Bragg, for example, that he's been bankrupt 4 times, and it was great because he could use the legal system.
Let me respond. That's another lie. I never went bankrupt. It's another lie. No, but it's a lie. This guy, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
We need someone with a proven record.
I use the laws to my benefit because I run a company. I never went bankrupt. Excuse me, Jeb.
Yeah.
I never went bankrupt. Never. Now, but you don't want to say that. Jeb doesn't really believe I'm unhinged. He said that very simply because he has failed in this campaign. It's been a total disaster. Nobody cares. And frankly, I'm the most solid person up here I've
ever ready. It's very high energy, Donald.
Mr. Trump?
humble.
Context there, that was when the moderator asked them to describe themselves in one word or phrase. Jeb Bush said he's high energy and then looked at Trump because Trump would always call him low energy Jeb. And then Trump said he's humble because, you know, that's, you can get what the joke is there. Also, when Jeb gave that high five, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but he looked like he was trying to make Donnie's hand sting. And I don't know, it just didn't work. It's too bad for Jeb.
I like Donald. He is an amazing entertainer. Most of his life.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
For most of his life, that's a matter of principle, and I'll tell you. You are the single biggest liar.
You probably are worse than Jeb Bush. You are the single biggest liar.
All right.
This guy lied. Let me just tell you. This guy lied about Ben Carson when he took votes away from Ben Carson in Iowa, and he just continues. And today, we had robocalls saying Donald Trump is not going to run in South Carolina, where I'm leading by a lot. I'm not going to run. Vote for Ted Cruz. This is the same thing he did to Ben Carson. This guy will say anything. Nasty guy. Now I know why he doesn't have one endorsement from any of his colleagues.
All right, John, I get to respond.
Pick from the buffet there.
He's a nasty guy.
When you point to his own record, he screams, liar, liar, liar.
Not beating Hillary. So you're not beating Hillary.
Well, then if I can't beat her, you're really going to get killed, aren't you? First of all, Rand Paul shouldn't even be on this stage. He's number 11. He's got 1% in the polls. And how he got up here, there's far too many people. And
Mr. Trump?
I never attacked him on his look. And believe me, there's plenty of subject matter right there. That I can tell you.
He said back in 2006, gee, I hope it does collapse because then I can go in and buy some and make some money. Well, it did collapse.
That's called business, by the way. And Hillary, I just ask you this. You've been doing this for 30 years. Why are you just thinking about these solutions right now? For 30 years you've been doing it, and now you're just starting to think of solutions.
Well, actually,
I will bring back jobs. You can't bring back jobs.
Well, actually, I have thought about this quite a bit.
Yeah, for 30 years.
I have, well, not quite that long, Dad.
But you have no plan.
Oh, I do.
Secretary,
in fact,
you have no plan.
A book about it. It's called Stronger Together. You can pick it up tomorrow.
That's about all you
folks.
At the bookstore. So if you want to see in real time what the facts are, please go and take a look. And
take a look at mine also, and you'll see. She's telling us how to fight ISIS. Just go to her website. She tells you how to fight ISIS on her website. I don't think General Douglas MacArthur would like that too much. No, you're telling the enemy everything you want to do.
No, we're not.
See, you're telling the enemy everything you want to do. No wonder you've been fighting. No wonder you've been fighting ISIS your entire adult life.
Not to mention, she was a big and ardent supporter of the Iraq War, lifelong warmonger, and look what it brought us.
I have a feeling that by the end of this evening, I'm going to be blamed for everything that's ever happened.
Why not?
Why not? Yeah, why not?
So it's negotiable?
It's not negotiable. No, let her release the email. Why did she delete 33,000?
Well, I'll let her.
Trying to get a casino license, and they showed he didn't pay any federal income tax. So
that makes
if
me
he's
smart.
paid,
I was against the war.
It's funny because, I agree with Trump. That would make him smart to not pay income tax, but he actually has paid very high income tax many a time. Remember when Rachel Maddow linked a Trump tax leak from the I believe it was either early or mid 2000s? She leaked Trump's tax document and found out that he was paying tens of millions of dollars in income tax. In fact, he was paying a higher rate than Bernie Sanders, both in raw percentage and in the total amount. So who's really cheating on the taxes? Just saying.
War in Iraq, just so you put it out.
The record shows otherwise.
The record
but why
does not show that.
Why is your judgment?
The record shows that I'm right.
Mrs. Clinton.
Well, I have much better judgment than she does. There's no question about that. I also have a much better temperament than she has. I have a much better. Hillary has experience, but it's bad experience. We have made so many bad deals during the last. So she's got experience, that I agree, but it's bad experience. Whether it's the Iran deal that you're so in love with, where we gave them $150 billion back, whether it's the Iran deal, whether it's anything you can name, you almost can't name a good deal. I agree. She's got experience, but it's bad experience.
Oh, it is. It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
It's just not true.
Classic.
And so please go
you didn't delete them?
Allow her to respond, please.
Personal emails, not official.
33,000?
Well, we turned over 35,000. So it was.
What about the other 15,000?
Please allow her to respond. She didn't talk while you talked.
Yes, that's true. I didn't.
Because you have nothing
in
to
the
say.
first. I'd like to get to the questions that the people have brought here tonight to talk to us about.
And get off this question.
If he wants to start, he can start. No, go ahead, Donald.
No, I'm a gentleman, Hillary. Go ahead.
Secretary Clinton.
She complains that Donald Trump took advantage of the tax code. Well, why didn't she change it? Why didn't you change it when you were a senator? The reason you didn't is that all your friends take the same advantage that I do. And I do. You have provisions in the tax code that, frankly, we could change. But you wouldn't change it because all of these people give you the money so you can take negative ads on Donald Trump. And I say that about a lot of things. I've heard Hillary complaining about so many different things over the years. Oh, we should have done this. But she's been there for 30 years. She's been doing this stuff. She never changed, and she never will change. She never will change.
Did you?
Something that I wish was in this compilation that's not included is, you remember that one time when Trump said that he's bought multiple politicians, including the one standing on the stage with him right now? Epic line, and that totally reminds me of it.
Use that $916 million loss to avoid paying personal federal income taxes for you.
Of course I do. Of course I do. And so do all of her donors, or most of her donors. I know many of her donors.
But that's not the point here.
Why didn't you do it? Why didn't you do it?
Allow her to respond.
Because I was a senator with a Republican president.
Oh, really?
I will be the
you
president.
You could have done it. If you were an effective, senator, you could have done it. If you were an effective senator, you could have done it. But you were not an effective.
Please allow her to
senator.
respond. She didn't interrupt you. Secretary Clinton, does Mr. Trump have the discipline to be a good leader?
No.
I'm shocked to hear that. Putin, from everything I see, has no respect for this person.
Well, that's because he'd rather have a puppet as president of the United States.
No puppet.
And it's pretty clear.
You're the puppet.
It's pretty clear you won't admit that the Russian.
Well, guys, we're going to have to wrap it up right there. Unfortunately, there are so many more good Trump compilation moments, and we just can't show them today. What do you guys think? Do you want a part 2, part 3, part 4? I don't know. Maybe we can do more of them. Let us know in the comments what you think and what kind of stuff you want to see next. And thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you again soon, and God bless.